Hello there, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are doing well. If you're hearing this, it means I finally landed, unpacked, and immediately fired up the mics. Yeah, my deepest, sincerest apologies for the radio silence over the last 48 to 60 hours. I know, guys. I know. You expected an immediate reaction after that absolute carnival against Wrexham in the FA Cup third round, and you got nothing. Yeah, I was caught completely off guard by an unavoidable impromptu trip that yanked me out of the town. Okay, and where I found myself was without no signal, no Wi-Fi, just pure disconnection. And when you needed that reaction the most, I literally haven't slept properly. So I've just gotten back home and I've just dropped my bag and I just came right here into my room and straight off to give you guys to the analysis decks because frankly we have zero time to breathe. Okay, we went from the lowest drama of the FA Cup against Wrexham to arguably the biggest European fixture of the season against PSG in the Champions League round of 16, starting Wednesday night. Okay, we need to transition fast, so we are doing a two-part special today. First, a very brief cathartic exorcism of the Wrexham game, and secondly, a deep dive into what we must get right against Luis Enrique's lot. And strap in, guys, because this is high stakes. Now let's address the Wrexham fixtures first. Yeah, I caught the highlights and the extended cuts immediately upon landing, and honestly, that was horrific, horrible football. Yeah, but sometimes that's exactly what the FA Cup throws at you, isn't it? We sneaked through 4-2 after extra time, and we found ourselves twice behind Wrexham. We found ourselves behind twice. Twice against a team we should be comfortably sweeping aside, even with 9 changes. The atmosphere, the drama, it was everything romantic about the cup. But from a Chelsea perspective, okay, it was agonizing. Robert Sanchez again looked completely devoid of confidence on the opening goal, and it wasn't an egregious error, but it was a sloppy positioning, failing to command his area and then letting a weak shot strike past him trickle past him and typical Robert Sanchez. But it was a sloppy positioning and it was uncalled for. That's the narrative that has followed him, and frankly, the hierarchy needs to acknowledge that if we're heading into the PSG game on Wednesday at the Parc des Princes, confidence in that position is non-negotiable. And the controversy, of course, was that was the red card shown to Dobson following the VAR intervention for the tackle on Garnacho. And look, I hate VAR drama, yeah, especially when it benefits us by handing us a man advantage in extra time. But we have to be honest, it was a reckless, dangerous challenge, and for me, that's a very, very straight up red card. Dobson was gone, and once we had the extra man, the quality eventually became obvious. Garnacho got his moment, and an awkward finish that bounced out, and it felt like it hit the post again. Well, then I saw the players rejoicing and jubilating and celebrating and all that. That was what confirmed for me that it was a goal, and it was a classic cup goal. And then Joao Pedro, who's showing immense form, showing why he's scoring for fun, finally settled it. And the key takeaway from the Saturday isn't the scoreline, it's the performance anxiety that it created. We dominated possession, but we looked vulnerable. French players didn't seize their chances, and it was a necessary trial by fire and exposing the fragile mental state lurking beneath the surface. But now the conversation is closed. But before I move on from this, I think it is now now non-negotiable that Tosin and Badiashile, okay, should be the first two senior players to leave the club come the summer because Tosin is horrible. But the show, we do not know what you're going to get from. You never get a decent game. You either get a good game or an atrocious game. That's Badeshil's story. And I'm tired of Badeshile, yeah? So that's it for me. Joel Ato was very good. Looks like a man showing confidence. Archie Pong too came out to save Chelsea when Wrexham got their second goal against Chelsea, and it looked like the tie was over, and he found himself in a goal scoring position, and he did well to convert his chance. So that's very. Now we're on again, and I hope that we don't get to meet Arsenal because it's rumor have it that we might likely be drawing up against Arsenal. Hope fingers crossed that's not gonna be it. Anyway, Wednesday is all that matters. And speaking of individuals who need to step up, let's quickly talk about some players like Romeo Lavia. We saw him get minutes against Wrexham, and we could see that the absence from being away from the team and due to injury and all that has actually set him back a few paces or steps backward. But I'm sure I trust that after a few games, once he's fine tuned himself and all that, we're gonna get the Romeo Lavia that we all saw when we first signed him. And I saw a report that it wasn't. It was. I also saw a report that it wasn't great and all that, but that's Lavia. I'm not gonna go hard on him right now because he's just returned from injury. Okay, he's missed nearly 100 games since joining Chelsea, and returning from that long left against a high energy physical Wrexham side is not a gentle welcome. So what Lavia brings to the team, even at 70% fitness, is a calmness and a control that this midfield really needs. Okay, and sometimes we need it desperately. His passing metrics when he's on form are excellent, especially his ball retention. So Arsenal will need him and need that stability that Romeo Lavia offers. It needs to be eased back. Okay, and yes, his return pushes competition, but that's why it's Chelsea. Competitions is what should push the rest of the players. However, we also have to address Joao Pedro, the man in blistering from 6 goals in his last five, and he has to start on Wednesday. And let's be honest about all that. Liam Delap struggled to impose himself against Wrexham. It needs to be sharper if he's going to feature in Europe. It needs to be sharper. The positives are that James and Palmer were rested, even Enzo Fernandez and Mrs. Caicedo were all rested, which is crucial heading into Paris. Now, these guys are going to be fresh for that game, and we need that freshness because the mental load required to navigate PSG's press and fluidity will be immense. Now, let's pivot entirely. Wednesday night, packed in Prince, Champions League round of 16. This is the cream of the crop. Yeah, cream de la cream. The true measure of where we stand under Arsenal. PSG are coming off a minor wobble domestically after falling at the hands of Monaco, a 3-1 win against PSG. That's why I'm slightly confident that Chelsea will be able to do something against this Luis Enrique side. Even though that they might be on low key a revenge on a revenge motive after Chelsea dealt with them at the Club World Cup. I still have this this conviction that Chelsea will be able to get something in this tie. I don't think PSG is going to be the end of us in this Champions League journey. So, but Luis Enrique is a master tactician. Yeah, we cannot afford the sloppiness. Okay, we showed against Wrexham. We need maturity, we need discipline, and the ruthless counter-attacking efficiency. Much like the plan that dismantled them in the Club World Cup is what we need again. Okay, but this time around we need to actually have more of that. Enrique's PSG doesn't just attack; they rotate and overload zones, and if we look at their likely setup, which is the fluid 4-3-3 morphing into whatever they need it to be. Their key threat remains the wide areas, supported by dynamic central midfielders, with Fabian Ruiz likely still out. That's a blow for them. And players like Vitinha, Emery, and potentially the returning of João Neves offers incredible engine in that midfield setup. So we have to anticipate Dembele, Bakola, and potentially Kvaratskhelia finding pockets. And if we allow them time on the ball in the midfield third, or in the middle third, they will expose us, especially with our back line not able to keep clean sheet consistently. So we saw in the past encounters how easily their fluid movement can drag a centre back out and creating echoes behind for runs to the mid. And our strategy must mirror the high intensity man marking and disciplined approach from the previous victory. We must choke the central lanes and uh, the central lanes where their creativity blooms. Okay, my mouth, I don't know, I'm struggling to put my words together. Okay, if we give them space, we will end up being humiliated. So this requires incredible physical output for the entirety of the 90 minutes. Okay, and so let's quickly talk about where this game or this match will be won. Okay, because it's a classic clash. But I believe that the deciding factor will be control, or whoever wins the midfield, the battle of the midfield or the midfield area, okay, gets to decide the outcome of this game. Okay, closely followed by how effectively we manage their wing play from our flanks. If Santos and Caicedo can dominate the transition phase, breaking up play quickly, feeding Enzo Fernandez centrally, and then preventing PSG from building comfortable switches of play, we might starve their forward. And if we lose the midfield battle, their fullbacks, Akimi and Mendes, will bump on and we will be pinned back. And if we end up getting pinned back, we're going to be in problem. So we must use Rhys James and our left-sided provider to create overload, specifically targeting PSG's left side. Just as we have done to such devastating effect before, we need to replicate that quick transition football and slow possession. Okay, will invite pressure that we cannot handle because these guys are pressing machine. Okay, given the stakes, Rosino needs his most reliable pressing resistant 11. Okay, and this is where I'm going to give you guys my lineup for this fixture or for this game. And this is what I think that we'll be able to do uh, the job against PSG at the Parc des Princes. So here's my lineup I'm predicting, and I'm prioritizing control and proving final third quality. So in goal, I'm gonna go with Jorgensen over Sanchez because confidence is paramount right now, and we need stability between the sticks for the first leg. Now in the back four, I'm gonna go with Rhys James, Fofana, Chaluba, and Marc Cucurella. We need Fofana's strength, and we need Cucurella providing necessary defensive solidity on the left. And in the midfield pivot, I'm going to go with Andre Santos and Moises Caicedo, the engine room. Santos provides the steel, Caicedo the relentlessness that at recovering ball and breaking plays. That is strength and all that. I think that if we have Santos and Caicedo in the midfield pivot, in the pivot, I think we should be able to cancel out, minimize the threat coming from the midfield of the PSG's midfield. So the engine room, like I said, and all that. And I'm going to go with Eze. Easy. 12 was easy. Sorry. I'm going to go with Enzo Fernandez as the creative spark ball because of his ball progression under pressure, and he needs to link the midfield domination to the front three. And I'm going to go with on the right, Cole Palmer, and on the left, I'm going to go with Garnacho. You guys are going to be surprised that I'm picking Garnacho over Neto. Yeah, I'm picking Garnacho because Garnacho looks like one who is who is out to prove something more than Neto. Neto these days has been really, really pissing me off, and it looks like it's not improving. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Garnacho instead of Pedro Neto. Palmer is non-negotiable. Okay, so yeah. Then just ahead of them is gonna be the the informed striker is you all well know is Joao Pedro. He presses intelligently and finishes clinically. And if we need to bring on someone, we can. I don't expect injuries again between the goal line. So I don't expect Sanchez to come on. We have Malo Gusto, we have Lavia, we have Esteval if he passes the lead fitness test. We also have Joel Alto, Liam Delap, even Pedro Neto if need be. So this team selection balances the need for experience in the back four with a dynamic threat up front. And if we can maintain structure, we can exploit PSG's occasional defensive hesitancy on their counter. So we cannot afford card accumulations nightmare either. Okay, because we need to be disciplined and we need to ensure that we are not reckless in tackles or in tackling. Enzo Fernandez and Santos walking a tightrope means that they need to play smart, hard, but keep clean football. Okay, we need to show maturity, and this isn't about running around wildly. It's about tactical discipline for the entirety of the 90 minutes. Okay, PSG will dominate possession, no doubt about that. That's not what it is. Who's gonna win the game? And if we if we if we can keep discipline and stay focused, victory is all that we need. Okay, and I don't care about the possession right now. PSG will dominate, and that's accepted. So our victory will come from denying them access to central areas, forcing them wide, and winning the duels against Hakimi and Mendes. And we need to execute clinical turnovers into the feet of Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, and João Pedro. A draw in Paris, okay, would be a monumental result heading back to the bridge. But I'm not too confident right now at the bridge because we seem to be doing poorly at the bridge. So anything less than maximum focus results in humiliation. We cannot afford this late in the season. So let's go there, be tactically superior and silence Parc the Princess. Okay, and that's it for me. In this immediate reaction, I'll be back on Wednesday night or Thursday morning with the full match reaction, regardless of the result. Until then, let me know what your thoughts are on the lineup strategy, and don't forget to like this video, share, and turn on your notification bell so that you're notified as soon as my match reaction is out there. Until then, it's Chelsea first, rivals next. Peace.